Today on the channel, Jakks Classic Superstars Deluxe Box Belt Collector Set. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel as we continue our deep dive into the Jakks Classic Superstars series. If this is your first time checking out these Jakks Classic Superstars videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn your old notifications on, as every Tuesday, until we can't, we're doing a Jakks Classic Superstars video. We've done the 3-packs, we've done the 2-packs, we've done the single carded releases. We still got the Deluxe Aggression Classic Superstar figures to do. We've got all the exclusives still to go through. We got some ancillary packs and a whole lot more discussion videos as well as part of this Jakks Classic Superstars series. But today we're at a new point, a new in-between time video, I guess we'll call it. And we're going to take a look at the Jakks Classic Superstars title belt figure 2-packs. Now, we all remember Jakks regular figures, not just the classics, but we also had the Ruthless Aggression, the Ring Rage, the Adrenaline, all the boxed exclusives, stuff like that in the traditional line. Well, one thing Jakks also had that Mattel has nowadays is the toy belts, the toy replica belts for little kids. I would have died for a belt like that as a little kid. My friends and I, we could have took it to the old playground and we could have challenged each other for the belts. Instead, we had to make our own out of cardboard and paper and stuff like that. You kids, you don't know how good you have it these days. But the Jakks Classic Superstars line carried on this tradition of the figure belt packs and gave us some classic releases over the years. We got 2 that are phenomenal, great ideas, and one that makes me scratch my head a little bit. And we'll get into all 3 of those, but we're going to kick it off with one of the best ones ever released. One of the best Ted DiBiase figures ever released as well, as you guys are probably aware. This is the Jakks Classic Superstars $1 million belt with Ted DiBiase figure. Now, this is the only time you could get this Ted DiBiase figure in this kind of whitish suit. It came with this pack. And this was Toys R Us is the only place I remember ever seeing these packs at. I'm sure some of the traditional ones were at other retailers out there, but I don't remember this. Possibly Kmart. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I felt like Kmart may have had these, but I pretty much only remember seeing these at Toys R Us. And unfortunately, this $1 million man pack, I saw this thing beat around the store for about a year. These were out there, but man, they'd get dinged up in the box. They'd be moved. They'd be picked up. You guys know as figures sit around shelves for a year, they get damaged. They get torn up pretty hard. But I remember this Ted DiBiase not really flying off the shelves. I guess Ted was doing a pretty good job making everybody hate him. I always tell the story, my kids absolutely hate Ted DiBiase to this day. It's just crazy after all these years. They watch some of his videos from the 80s and stuff, and it still works. It still works. What he did back then still has that same effect on kids today. So that tells you he's an all-time great at what he did, that's for sure. But these belt packs were pretty cool. Like I said, primarily Toys R Us, but you get a classic belt. Doesn't get a whole lot classic, more classic in the 80s than the $1 million belt. We all know it. We all loved it. We saw Virgil hold it for a while. We saw Ted Jr. have it for a while. Now, what is it, LA Knight, Let Me Talk to You? He's got it now. And I don't know how that'll go, if that'll be around for a long time or not, but it was cool to see Ted DiBiase recently back on our screens on NXT. It's always fun when some of those legends come back in a more modern day environment and actually have something instead of just a quick backstage scene or a quick inside the ring. He was there for a few weeks and some skits and stuff, so that was pretty cool to see. And this set is really cool as well. I've always loved this set from the word go. I don't remember being announced. I remember just being surprised. And I do, we talk about it a lot on the channel. I miss the old surprise days. But I just remember going to Toys R Us one day and bam, here it was. And if I remember correctly, I always like to talk about where I was when these came out. I remember I didn't buy this right away. I slept on it. I said, yeah, I'm getting all the Classic Superstars figures, but I don't need this one. It's not in the regular card. It's a box. It's different. I don't need it. Then I ended up buying it. And then about a year or 2 after I bought it, I said, you know what? I don't need this. I'm going to sell it. And then I rebought it. And now I have it here and I've never sold it since. But it's funny is I somehow convinced myself for a short window of time that, you know, I don't really need these box sets. I'm not counting those as part of what I call the set. Then I said, you know what? I'm so close. I should just get them. And they were fairly reasonable. I'm not even sure what this goes for anymore. I don't know. I'm sure it goes more than the $20 it probably was back in 2000. What do you guys guess? 2005. I'm sure it was 15 to 20 bucks probably then. Probably 20 bucks probably sounds about right. I'm sure it goes for a lot more than that now. But a very cool pack. But we're going to do it like we normally do it. We're going to take a look at it, talk about the packaging, and see where it goes from there. So there it is. There's that toy. It's a toy title belt. It's not, you know, something big, heavy dollar, but it just looks really cool in box like this. You got the cool little window box off to the side with Ted DiBiase, and then Ted even comes with his own $1 million belt, so he could have dual champions. I think that's very cool. You guys may remember some of the Jakks regular release ones were boxed like this, and then some of them also had a box with another figure on the other side, which I always thought was pretty cool. It took a lot of work tracking some of those down as part of my complete Ruthless Aggression set. There was some subtle differences in a few of those figures that gave me some fits trying to track down. But you got it right there. Ted DiBiase's $1 million title championship belt right there. What's it say over here? Adjustable waist, warnings, Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man, Jakks Pacific. There's that classic Superstars logo. There's kind of the classic logo without being a classic logo. But this is the key feature right here. There is title belts out there that, yeah, maybe you could say they're classic, but they don't have this on it. Oh, not going to work. That doesn't work for me. It doesn't have it on there. It doesn't count. That's how I've justified it in my head, at least. You got Ted on the top right there. Classic Superstars logo to the side. On the side, you got this. Same thing on the other side, of course. Same thing on the bottom. So not a lot on the edges here. But then you get to the back, and it's time to promote, and we're promoting. There's my boy Terry Funk right there. Caught my eye right away. Promoting the Classic Superstars line, promoting the regular Ruthless Aggression line, promoting a ring, promoting the kids' child belts. Jakks were master promoters. I feel most toy companies, it's a lost art promoting on the back of your package, but this is prime promote backing here. No blurb on Ted DiBiase, no explanations, no nothing. That is a little disappointing there, but no explanation needed when you got Ted DiBiase and his $1 million title. What are you going to say? Ted DiBiase was the $1 million champion. But I would have liked to have seen a blurb of some sort here. Ruthless Aggression Series 13 was the one they were talking about. A mighty fine series, if you ask me. It's got instructions for the belt on here. It's Velcro, it looks like. So nothing too fancy. It's a kid's belt to play with. I'm not sure how many kids picked this one up, because 2005, I got to say, the $1 million title really wasn't sweeping the world. It wasn't sweeping all the kids. They weren't talking about it on the kid playgrounds. They definitely weren't talking about it at college where I was. Nobody was really talking about the $1 million belt anymore, which was sad, because it's a cool belt, and I'm glad to see it make a return. My guess is for a brief time, but very cool set right here. I like this one a whole lot, and that is the old Ted DiBiase belt. But we got two more to talk about. Let's get to them. All right, next up is going to be a quick one in the Classic Superstars Belt Pack series, as I do not have a mint on card version of this, and I barely count this as part of the Classic Superstars line, but we've got to count it, unfortunately. Maybe I will pick this up one of these days. I really don't want it in my collection. I'll probably display it behind the other two belts we're talking about here, because it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it does have that Jakks Classic Superstars logo on it, so I guess I do have to count it official. I have the figure, I don't have the belt, but I'll get the box one probably eventually. And who we are talking about is Shane Helms, Gregory Helms. A lot of us know him as the Hurricane, of course, but Gregory Helms, here is the Ruthless Aggression style figure that belt pack came with, but it also came with the Cruiserweight title. Nothing about this pack just screams Jakks Classic Superstars series. It's a very, very weird, almost a mistake. Maybe they messed up in China somewhere. Maybe it was supposed to be somebody else. Even the Cruiserweight, the WWF Cruiserweight title, WWE Cruiserweight title, that doesn't have the history and the appeal of Classic Superstars line. Give us the classic Intercontinental title. Give us the classic tag team title with the tag team 2-pack. Would have been a much better use of the classic line, I think. Something tells me something fell through or something got messed up, and this was the easiest thing they could do at the time, which is truly unfortunate, because as good as Gregory Helms is, I'm a big fan of his career. I love the Hurricane. I loved him in WCW. I'm a big fan. He doesn't really warrant to be in the Classic Superstars lineup, especially at this time. Not even sure if they had one now, if he would necessarily be in this persona, maybe Hurricane, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then that Cruiserweight title, if you list all the classic titles of the WWF, WWE, that Cruiserweight title is pretty far down, especially that version of it, pretty far down the list. I would have liked to have seen the traditional Intercontinental, the tag, like I said. Maybe give us the European title even. Give us with somebody, a British Bulldog, somebody like that. I don't know. It just felt like this one didn't make a lot of sense. That's why I don't really have it in my collection yet. But I feel like I probably should pick it up. Playing that long game, got to get a deal. Going through this video series makes me say, you know, I should probably pick it up. I do have the Gregory Helms figure. So we'll see. But just wanted to briefly mention this one, as this one doesn't really excite me a whole lot. It's probably the least exciting Classic Superstars figure in the entire line, if you can believe that for me. It just doesn't make sense. It's a head scratcher. But this final one, it's a heavy hitter, and it's probably the most popular belt pack in the Classic Superstars line by a long shot. All right, we're at the final belt pack in the Jakks Classic Superstars series, and it doesn't get a lot bigger than this. This is the most iconic WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it, title belt in history, if you ask me. I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree. Tell me in the comments if you agree, or tell me you don't agree. But I think this version of their heavyweight title is the most iconic. I always say, when you close your eyes, what do you think of? This is what I think of. And that is paired with Hulk Hogan, which the majority of people maybe do associate with this belt. I might say the Ultimate Warrior, but I think a lot of people would say Hulk Hogan, and that's fair enough. Fair enough. So makes sense to put this pack together. This screams Jakks Classic Superstars, a classic title belt, a classic character in Hulk Hogan. That's Jakks Classic Superstars. Very similar to the Ted DiBiase one. I would say the same thing with that $1 million title, a classic title with Ted DiBiase. Both those sets make a heck of a lot of a difference compared to Gregory Helms and the Cruiserweight title. Something just didn't fit. I just really wish they would have had the tag title or Intercontinental title with somebody that represented that title. Would have been great as the third one, but instead we got what we got. But this one hit on a lot of cylinders. This was the most popular one. I wouldn't say this jumped off the shelf and was extremely hard to find. I just think a lot of people didn't collect these because of the toy belt aspect. And once again, I'm very similar to that Ted DiBiase one. I bought it, sold it, bought it back, now I have it. I didn't feel I needed this set. I never really liked this Hulk Hogan figure. This Hulk Hogan figure, the one thing that people like about it is it's a throwback to that old school Hasbro Hulk Hogan figure. So I get the love there, but it just felt like an old man Hulk Hogan. I always felt this was like, he looked too old. It just felt like an old man Hulk Hogan. And there's a lot of issues. I do have this one loose as well as part of my loose collection right there. I mean, it is what it is. There's issues with this one, though. The top does not match the bottoms. You got that classic red and yellow down below in his tights and stuff, and then you got a mustard yellow up top. It just doesn't match very well. Just not the best Jakks Classic Superstar Hulk Hogan. But as a package, as what this represents, I do like this one a lot. I think it's a very solid pack. And I could see every Hulkamaniac out there wanting this set because, you know, it's a cool little kid's replica, but it displays amazingly. I know when people look at my collection, this one catches a lot of eyes and people point this one out. So they're doing something right here. It makes a heck of a lot more sense than poor Gregory Helms and his Cruiserweight title. But let's take a look at the packaging here. There it is. Beautiful title belt there. And then you got Hogan, just like Ted, over on the side. We do got the Classic Superstars logo right here. A little bit different packaging than the Ted DiBiase figure as well, as you guys probably noticed. This one screams more modern day than the Ted one screams like it was part of the Jakks Classic Superstars packaging. The packaging had a similar motif of the regular line. This is more of a Ruthless Aggression line, but then you put the Classic Superstars logo on here. I count it as a classic, and I think you have to. I don't know how you cannot if it has that logo on it. But there it is. You got the WWE seal, very Classic Superstars S seal up there as well. Then you got the top. Nothing too exciting up there. Heavyweight Championship belt with Hulk Hogan. Classic Superstars logo. Same thing over here. Same thing on the side. Same thing on the other side. And then you get to the back of the package, and you got to be promoting. You're promoting the other kids' belts. I think that's a smart move. I love that across the top. And then you're promoting Ruthless Aggression lines. They're not promoting anything Classic Superstars, which is very strange to me. Is what it is. Let's see, who are they promoting exactly? Doesn't even say the sets the Ruthless Aggressions are in. That's one thing I am not very good. A lot of people say, oh, do you got, Rob Conway from Series 15? I'm like, I don't remember those guys. Like, some sets out there are iconic and you remember what wave they are. There's so many Ruthless Aggression sets, it's hard to remember who it is. One thing that pokes out here and stands out for me is Juventud right there. This figure was never released. It was an unreleased figure. And I got a lot of people say, well, you have every single one. Well, yeah, I do, but I don't have prototypes. I don't have stuff that wasn't released, so I don't count that as part of my completionist, as a lot of you guys know. But you're promoting Psychosis, Super Crazy, Matt Hardy, Kurt Angle, John Cena, and Edge. And then you got Chris Benoit, Juventud, Randy Orton, Rob Conway, another Kurt Angle, and Ken Kennedy. It looks like this Kurt Angle was different than released as well. The prototype here shows kind of a Polly Pocket type jacket that would go over, very similar to that Shawn Michaels. But that ended up being painted on instead of being an extra add-on. So always cool to see some of that stuff all these years later. You know, I know some people... Oh, it does show. Ruthless Aggression Series 19, Adrenaline Series 17. I just missed it. They were down there. But it's funny, you know, you go back all these years later, and some people hate the Jakks, and I get it. Every line has people that hate it. But, you know, I think Jakks Ruthless Aggression figures, there's a bit of a renaissance with those. I think they get some criticism that's not quite qualified. A lot of people say, oh, that's so Jakks. But people, you got to take a step back. I always say, and we could talk classics, we could talk Ruthless, any of them. You got to take a step back to what action figures were at the time. Before we got the Ruthless Aggression style mold, we had R3s and Titantrons. Those were absolutely the hottest of hot garbage. Some of the worst wrestling figures of all time. I hate to offend anybody, but that's my opinion. I don't like those. You don't see a whole lot of those in my collections. That basically killed wrestling figure fandom for me. I just did not like those figures at all. But then the Ruthless Aggression era hit, and it was a step into the future. And a lot of people forget what a step into the future they were. And we really owe that, the Mattel, the Jazzwares and stuff. A lot of what they're doing was thanks to Jakks moving that needle, getting us into the future. We always got to take that step back on those. So I'm always going to be a Jakks apologist. I get it. Every line's had some terrible figures, but nobody's pumped out as many figures as Jakks did over the years. You can't be 100% home run every single time. But I think they did a pretty good job. I think they were a great, 300 batting average. You know, I just thought they did a very great job. And I'm sure you guys would agree with me in the comments, right? Right? Yeah, maybe. So there it is. But that is the Hulk Hogan belt pack. We saw the Ted DiBiase belt pack. Will I get the Gregory Helms belt pack? I feel like I don't need it, but I feel like I do. I don't know. I got to find it cheap. I don't want to pay $70 for it or something like that. But if I can find it cheap, I don't know if I'll display it. I have these two on the shelf. I might put it behind there just to say I have it. I feel at this point I need to get it. I'm convincing myself here right on the YouTube channel. I'll play the long game. I'll get it. But I guess the Gregory Helms figure will be just enough for right now. So there you go, the Classic Superstars belt packs. What do you guys think about these? Did you pick these up? Did you have these? Did you not know they existed? Did you know they existed, didn't want them? Your thoughts on the figures? I'm sure we can all agree the Greg Helms one is a little bit of a head scratcher, but the Hogan and DiBiase make a lot of sense. But leave me your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video. You made it this far. Don't forget to follow me on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, and of course, Pro Wrestling Tees. Search Kyle Peterson, pick up a t-shirt, support the channel. So for the Classic Superstars title belt box sets, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.